What's up, everyone? This is Christian Duke. You're watching Strength Addicts here on Instagram Live, brought to courtesy of BlackstoneLabs.com, the holy grail of bodybuilding supplements. Remember, whether you're looking to gain muscle, lose fat, get some energy going into the gym, there's no better place to go than BlackstoneLabs.com. Also, be sure to apply to join the Blackstone Labs Legion. There is no program like it anywhere in the fitness industry. Also, big thank you to our supporting sponsor, TitanMedicalCenter.com, for all your hormone replacement therapies, injectable vitamins, glutathione, and so much more. So tonight's guest, to me, is someone who is emblematic of the entire Kentucky bodybuilding community. He is someone that was honestly a driving force in terms of podcasts, a driving force in terms of competition, somebody who lives and breathes Kentucky bodybuilding and beyond. Ty Robinson is somebody who honestly really worked social media, really worked this scene, and was one half of the very, very famous Two Scoops podcast, which I believe went about a year, a little bit over a year. And if you guys know about podcasts, you guys know that the first, 5, 6, 7, 8 episodes, you're basically talking to yourself. It's really a test in tenacity. And it really, I think, really makes you strive for excellence. There's so many podcasts. So many people are going to Guitar Center and buying your basic setup, and they just go on the airwaves. And some podcasts sound like absolute garbage. Some podcasts literally sound like you're talking in a coffee can, like a Maxwell House coffee can. But Two Scoops was just such a great podcast. Their intro was amazing. Their guests were fantastic. They would go an hour, 2 hours, and they would always have original topics. They would bring up bodybuilding studies. They would bring up bodybuilding news, and they would just make a whole show out of it. And it was really, really cool. So I just want to welcome the folks that are here. And I suspect that most people, especially here in Kentucky, will be watching this on replay. And I don't see, that's the one thing I don't understand. I don't get that, because over the course of the last year, let me just go ahead and say hello to everybody. We got Darkside. Thank you so much for doing the interview just a second ago. You did a great job. Omni Muscle in the house from Blackstone. Art in the house from Blackstone, GK from Blackstone, a lot of Blackstone people. We got LaFlower in here. We got Shredder, Chauncey is in the house, one of the best posers. There's two amazing posers in Kentucky and probably in this entire region. Chauncey and Kevin Johnson, they're the best of the best when it comes to posing, and he's here. That's awesome. Got one-on-one from Blackstone. And then I don't know if we got the bodybuilding foodie, which is Judge, who changed his name. We got Purple Lady Fit, which is Michelle Jackson. She's absolutely awesome. And we got, I think Ty's here. We got GK Fit, and we got Ty. So he's your number one friend. So we're gonna, and I don't know why some people are scared to come on here live, so I'm sure they'll watch it on replay. What's up? Ooh, I love the shades, man. That's cool.
Yo, what's happening? Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah, perfect, man. Those shades are rocking, man. Very cool.
Hey, man, blenders. Hopefully they send me a couple more pair. You know what I mean? Let's go.
For sure. So, as I was saying before you jumped on, you are, I think, without being melodramatic, one of the most talked about people in Kentucky, especially right here in Louisville. That's why when I was doing the thing with the factory with Jody, we're like, we've got to get Ty. We've got to get Ty. It was so important. And I'll shut up here in a second, but when you did the factory thing, you lit everything up. Your passion is unparalleled. But
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. But I suspect that a lot of people are going to watch this on replay. I don't know why. But I don't understand though. I don't understand that phenomenon. Like why they want to watch it live. I don't get that.
I do. People got lives and things to do and kids to take care of and families to feed and stuff like that. So just like anything else, you got to let people do what they want to do. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It would be nice to have 1,000 people watching, but I'm cool if one person watches it.
No, for sure. I've only had one live, I think, where I had 1,000. It was Kevin Lavroni. It was like crazy. I was like, my gosh, I couldn't believe those numbers. But
I can. Kevin's a superstar. What do you expect?
Hell yeah, he's larger than
life.
Life. But so I think for a lot of people, well, before we talk about that, so you're an IFB pro. How long have you been competing for? I have to ask that. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask that. Like, how long? How did you discover the sport? How did you pick? All that fun stuff. We got to get that out of the way.
I got you. It's gonna sound like a lie, man. But I was just at the gym, man. I trained at Gold's Gym way back in the days here in Louisville. And at the time, I didn't know we had Porter Cottrell in there, who was like a superstar. I didn't even know it was him. We had Tracy Beckham, which she's out in California now. She's a superstar pro, international pro and stuff. We had Tricky Jackson was in there. So I was surrounded just by like people that love lifting weights, and I didn't know nothing about bodybuilding. I would go to, a grocery store and look at a magazine and stuff and see, Arnold and Dexter Jackson and the Chris Cormiers, Kevin Levrone, these guys. I'm kind of aging myself, which is fine. But yeah, so I was just always like intrigued, if you will, by just their bodies, man, their physiques. It was. I mean, they look like gods. You know what I mean? So I actually kind of started lifting weights too early, man. I was 9 years old when I just fell in love with lifting weights and stuff, and yeah, man, a couple of my buddies, we'd go to the gym and we just started hitting it. And as far as competing, how that happened was, I was there at the gym one night, and you know him. He used to compete. He is a judge here in Louisville. His name is Neville Shakespeare. You recognize that name?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So he was the one, man. He came to me one day. I think I was spotting him. Back in the days, you could ask somebody for a spot, and it was all good. You know what I mean? Nobody had on the headphones. The music was blaring. It was hot as shit. So Neville asked me for a spot. Here I am. I did my first competition in 2003, so I was all of 20 years old. Yeah, 20 years old, and Neville's like, man, why don't you do this competition? And I didn't know anything about competitions. I just thought it was something you've seen in a magazine or on TV. So sure enough, he kind of talked to me about it, and then Tracy and Tricky had said something to me about it like the following days up, and it was the Kentucky Muscle of 2003. And it's funny because it was only 3 weeks away. So remind you, I was broke. I had a little part-time job, broke as hell. My parents still helping me with rent and stuff. And so the show's in 3 weeks, and I kind of asked them, what do I do, man? I was eating ramen noodles, cereal, and gummy bears all the time, you know what I'm saying? So they told me, like, eat chicken, eat rice. And to be honest, I don't have a big appetite. You might already know that, but I do not like eating. Like, I hate eating. I could eat once a day and never eat again. So when they told me how much I got to eat, now back in the days, it was like you just eat a lot. You just eat. Like, I didn't have any money for supplements. Protein powder was way out of my financial ability, you know what I'm saying? So I was drinking milk. So I cut back on the milk because milk was going to make me fat, they said, and look fat and bad on stage. So I cut back on the milk. I ate less cereal, but I had to keep cereal in because I just didn't want to eat rice. It was gross, and I'm young, and I can eat what I want to. I still had abs, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, 3 weeks later, I'm on stage next to Stavenbot, you know him, Neville Shakespeare, and the list goes on, man, and that's just how the party started right there.
That's awesome. That's crazy. And, was it always men's physique, though? I mean, you started...
It never was. No, so I'll tell you about that. So
yeah, because this is way before men's physique, right?
Yeah, 2003. It was only bodybuilding, and that's all that the show was, and maybe like bikini stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I did that show in 2003, and then I kind of was like, yo, I can actually do this because I did pretty good at the show. Then 3 weeks out, and not knowing anything about dieting, anything about bodybuilding, none of that stuff mattered to me. I just was a kid that lifted weights. But I did the show, and I did okay, man. Like I didn't place last. I got top 5 because I crossed over. There was no like true novice. It was like novice and open back in those days. You know what I'm saying? And I placed top 5 in the novice, and I placed like 6 in the open. And it was I was a a light heavy. I was a light heavy because I was tall. You know what I'm saying? I should have been a lightweight for real. But so that just gave me the confidence, man, to be like, yo, this is actually kind of fun. And I'm OCD. So it made me be like I'm real regimented with everything. So this gave me something to focus on. I was done playing football and stuff. I played football my whole life. So I was done with that. So this kind of gave me that alley to be competitive again. And then, so men's physique was 20 years later.
Right. But
pretty much, yeah.
That is such a competitive division also. I think maybe even more so than bodybuilding, because bodybuilding, especially like at, local regional shows, you might have like 10, 20 guys. That's like,
Right.
that's one class in men's physique. You know what I mean? That's like, so
Yeah.
and you have like a lot less stage time, a lot less poses. But I
Right.
think it added, undeniably added a perspective to your journalistic career that I don't have. I'm a chubby guy, but being a competitor, getting that pro card, I feel like that just gives you an edge that I don't have. Maybe one day I'll have it if I compete. I'll never go pro, but I just think it gives you a very, very unique perspective. And I think it also gives you like almost like automatic credibility when you're interviewing a fellow pro. They look at
I
you
appreciate
differently.
that. Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
As far as like men's physique goes, I would have never done men's physique after the first year of men's physique, just because of the way the guys looked. It was basically surfer, pretty boys. Nobody as dark as me, and nobody as muscular as me, to be honest with you. Of course, now it's different, you know what I mean? But back in those days, it was skinny, pretty boys, man, and I wanted nothing to do with it. So it wasn't for 2 years that I was interested in it once Mark Anthony won the Olympia, and he's half black. So he's actually the one that kind of like gave me you can do this, man. I met him at the Arnold back in the day, man, and he's the one that really got me into it for real.
Yeah, and I love Mark. He's a hell of a nice guy, but like the division has gone like so far from like his initial year winning. I mean, like Andre Ferguson is on another level. Jeremy's on another level. I mean, that's nothing against Mark. It's just it's a totally different look. I mean, it's just so much harder now and bigger, and it's crazy. It's almost like it's like a bodybuilding torso on a men's physique pair of shorts kind of thing. Almost sometimes it's pretty crazy.
It really is. It really is, man. And I kind of like that because. Now, I seen some stuff earlier today. People were kind of talking about creating a height and weight kind of thing, just like classic. And I would stop competing if that happened. I do men's physique because I like to be as big as I want to be and as shredded as I want to be. I don't want to be restricted in things because I don't want that restriction. I would be 250 on stage if I could as a men's physique guy.
Definitely. And so like there's a lot of places that we can go. But I mean, like, I know you worked with Next Level for quite some time. You're a big part of that. The Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew was legendary,
Definitely.
And then Two Scoops. I mean, Two Scoops to me, honestly, when you look at a professionally done podcast, executed perfectly, great guests. I mean, you guys would go sometimes like 2 hours, but really, really good content. You had Kevin Johnson on there. You had Steve Weingarten on there. You had pros from outside of the region as well. You had Mark Woodwarner on there. Jimmy Hornbeck. So I think this region really, really needed that, and while you guys did it, I don't know how long you went. I think it was just a little bit over a year. I think it was, but and then of course 2018 there was a lot of strife here because there were the supplement shop wars and all that, and a lot of tension, and there was actually competing products to Two Scoops, and they just were not there. I mean, maybe in time they would have been there, but it was mainly, I think, contrived to be an alternative to you guys. I don't think it was really well thought out and put out. You know what I mean? It didn't sound good, at least. I'm just being honest, it didn't. But you guys had something that was magic. I mean, it was really, really good.
It was, man. It was.
Yeah, and the rapport. The last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you just take off with it.
I got you.
Yeah, it was really, really magic. And I actually met with Corey. We met for like 4 hours, and I would just talk and I tried to give him as much feedback as I could. And at that time, you were out of the picture. Like, he had said he had tried contacting you and he couldn't get a hold of you, and it was just like he didn't know what to do. But he wanted to continue the show, so I was trying to give him some ideas, maybe some sponsorship ideas, maybe some programming ideas. But he just could not. And there's nothing against them at all, because I feel like you guys had something very, very special. I don't think you could have been replaced. I don't think you could have replaced him. I think it was just a very unique thing. But he just couldn't do it without you. And so how did the show start? Like, what was it like doing the show?
Man,
ending the show.
Yeah, so Two Scoops was something, man, that Corey and I talked about for not very long, to be honest with you. It was just like, let's just start, because we love, let me tell you about me, man. Like, I love bodybuilding. I love fitness. I love competition, okay? So And I learned, I got to know Corey. I actually met Corey at my first men's physique show, and we just became friends through fitness, right? Which is so cool about it, you know what I mean? And he came into the store one day, and was like, yo, man, I think we ought to do this thing, you know, and we talked about it, came up with some ideas, and was like, screw it, we had nothing to lose, right? And it's funny because, like, that being said, it ended up, there was a lot to lose, and I'll explain that later. But Two Scoops was just an idea that we came up with one day in the store, and we got together and you know, had a raggedy plastic table, man, a couple of microphones and everything, and just said, let's do it. And we started recording. We wrote down some notes of what, like, topics we would kind of talk about. So Two Scoops grew organically, man. It was the fans of Two Scoops that really turned it into what it turned into. If you know what I'm saying, like, we didn't think we're gonna do this and then we're gonna do this. That wasn't the way it went. Like, the fans evolved Two Scoops into what it ended up being, man. So it was an amazing experience. And to be honest, Two Scoops really outgrew what I wanted it to. So nobody knows this. So hopefully Corey's watching this. So my idea for Two Scoops, number one, was to talk about Louisville, right? To put Louisville on the map in a fitness sense, and to give a spotlight to competitors that didn't have one. So as we did Two Scoops, and it just grew and grew, and there was this other podcast that's like humongous. I forget the name of it now, but they actually found us somehow. I don't know how this stuff works. And they gave us like a big shout out, and they were talking about me and Corey, and then like it just blew up. Like, it was overnight, it went viral, right? And what I didn't like about that was it took the focus off of what I had in mind. Like, I wanted Two Scoops to be about local competitors, local situations. I wanted to keep it here in Louisville, and that be the shine. And apparently, Corey had a different idea for Two Scoops. He wanted to talk to the big names, the Mark Lobliners, Porter Cottrells, and I didn't want to do that. So that was really the reason why I left Two Scoops, on top of a few other things. One of our only sponsor for Two Scoops was Next Level Sports Nutrition. And when I stopped working for them, I didn't want them to be part of Two Scoops. But Corey, he wanted them to be part of it. And for me, I couldn't do it, man, because really they didn't do anything for me being a sponsor. We would say your name. We would send people into the store. We had people making orders from all over the country from the store, and Next Level didn't do anything for me as far as Two Scoops went. So what really were they sponsoring? The answer is nothing.
Interesting. You know, and the thing is, like, I made up with Sean, because I was like, during this time, during the 2018 time, I was like really kind of like stupid, because I was like, I still love the NPC and I still think the NPC is great, but I was like this NPC zealot, and it was like he actually sponsored like a rival federation. It was like a little show. But I was like, oh, I can't do this. I can't talk to you anymore. And I was a moron. But I apologize to him. We made good. I like Sean a lot. But from a business standpoint, I totally understand what you're saying, because you know, if you're going to sponsor a show, you know, there has to be more. Like, for example, like Blackstone sponsors StrengthX, Titan Medical sponsors StrengthX, and there's money involved. There's products involved. There's mutual cooperation involved. There's a lot involved. So I totally understand that, and I love both companies, but it is a sponsorship at the end of the day. So I totally understand. And so just two observations that I had about Two Scoops, and maybe I'm way off. I always saw it as Corey was like the tech guy, the business guy. This is obviously not, but I'm just saying what I thought. He was the tech guy, the business guy, and you were the talent. You were the guy that almost he had to kind of like rein in from not like getting too big too fast. You were the guy that was always happy, always laughing, always energetic. You were never tired. You know, like you were like really the heart of it. And I really think that in a way that is true, because when you were removed from the equation, I think there was a lot of people that, you know, potentially wanted to step up to possibly audition for your spot, and he just could not find anybody that matched you. Like, you just couldn't. That was part of the reason why I don't think the show went on. The other thing too, I feel like, you know, he had certain loyalties that were basically carved in stone. One being to Next Level, another one being to Steve Weingarten. And I love Steve. But again, from a show perspective for you, I think maybe he expected you to also share in those ironclad loyalties, and maybe you didn't have that kind of relationship that he did, you know?
I didn't. I got to know Steve, and man, I love Steve. I think Steve does more for Louisville competitors than any other coach from anywhere. It doesn't matter. So I got to know Steve really through Two Scoops. But the problem I was having with Two Scoops was, for instance, we had Steve Weingarten on our show 2 or 3 times. But I had competitors who wanted to be on the show. Can you hear me?
No, I can't. Just Chauncey says you can never match or replace Ty. I was just agreeing with him. Yeah.
Shredder, what's up? I appreciate that, baby. But so I wanted, again, remember, I wanted Two Scoops to be about competitors. There was no platform for Louisville competitors, but I'd go to a show in Chicago, and I'm backstage, and there's 8 guys from Nashville, 10 guys from California, 7 guys from Texas. I'm like, hell, shit, we can do this here in Louisville. I know superstars. I know Chauncey Wilson. I know Kevin Johnson. I know Corey Howell. I know these guys that can be something, and that's what I wanted to be like. And a beef that I had with Corey, and I didn't express it, was that he got to where he wouldn't let a competitor come on our show if they didn't have, let's call it a prestige. And I didn't like that. I wanted nothing to do with anything like that, bro. Like, at the end of the day, we ain't shit. You know what I mean? Like, Two Scoops was just a show. We got no money for it. Okay, let's make that clear. We got no money. I didn't even. Maybe Corey was getting money. I got no money, and I put in a lot of, like, that show sometimes would go 2-3 hours long, and I got to talking to Corey about it. Like, man, dude, like, we're putting a lot of time in this. Like, it had been a year, and I got not a penny of money.
Yeah.
So it became a second job that wasn't paying me. Right. And I felt like something wasn't right, man. I couldn't do it no more, and especially with how he wouldn't let there's 2 competitors that I know and he knows, and he wouldn't let them on the show, and that just rubbed me the wrong way, man. I didn't like that at all. So I had to back out. I knew things weren't going to go the way I wanted them to, so I had to back out.
And again, I don't want to ask you who the 2 competitors were, but I mean, you know.
I'll tell you who it is.
Okay.
I don't care. You know what I'm saying? One of them is Cassia Mullen, and you know who she is. Mm-hmm. She won the Open in women's physique.
And she was. I mean, you know. So.
And that's what I'm saying. So you mean this Miss Women's Physique in Kentucky can't come on our show because she doesn't have 5,000 followers? And there was another one. I'm not going to name that person. But I just, it really rubbed me the wrong way, man. It really did. And she had asked me, man, 3 or 4 times to come on the show, and I promised her I would get her on that show, but Corey wouldn't let it happen. I don't know what the beef there was, but it just started to get ugly. And that was not what Two Scoop was supposed to be about. Two Scoops was supposed to be about local competitors doing local shows and giving them a platform to just talk about stuff. What happens is people like Corey, because Corey's ultra intelligent, you know that, right?
Definitely.
And I've been in the game so long, and I've learned so much, but sometimes it can be hard for me to talk to a new competitor and have them understand what I'm saying. So my idea was, let's get somebody on here who's been competing for 2 or 3 years, who's had some ups and downs in the game, and people can relate to them, because people might look at me, and don't take this the wrong way, but people might look at me and be like, I can't look like Ty. I can't do it. But if we got somebody who's new to the game, like Cassia, who's outgoing, and then can show you old photos where she didn't look like a superstar, and 2 years later she's winning an open show, people can relate to that more than they can me. I promise you that. Like, look at Louisville. How many pro physique guys have we had come out of Louisville since I went pro 3, almost 4 years ago?
Right.
2 or 3.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And the one I'm thinking of is from Owensboro. He's not even from Louisville. So, yeah.
I was going to say, you know, there is nobody. So, it wasn't, no. Two Scoops was supposed to be about local people and helping people out, because that helps us out. That makes us better at Two Scoops. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean. But, you know, in Corey's defense, though, you know, I can understand the idea of getting, like, a big guest to, like, you know, bump the hits up. I totally get that. But at the same time, there's always room for compromise. I can't understand the Cassia thing too much because, you know, she is prepped by Steve. So, like, at least through that, there would be that, you know, I don't understand that. She won, you know, the Louisville show, the 2 Louisville shows. Like,
Right.
Raj and I are not like I don't think we're like friendly right now, but I give him props. He's got the 2 biggest shows in Kentucky. He will always have the 2 biggest shows, and Casilla won that. So I don't
Right.
like that. But
Right.
you know, but the
Well, let
thing
me tell
is,
you this real quick. So, for instance, we had on Mark Lobliner, who was at the time like one of the biggest fitness YouTube stars, without a doubt. But on 2 Scoops, he got blown out by 3 local people as far as views, and you know what I'm saying? Listens, I guess you call it, because it was on Spotify and whatever else. So he did like 3,000. I had Jody Engel. She's a pro now, but she was just an NPC chick. She did like double what Mark Lobliner did, and she had maybe 900 followers at the time. So it wasn't. 2 Scoops was its own thing. It wasn't about social media presence at all. I promise you that. In fact, Mark kind of rubbed me the wrong way. He never, like, shouted us out. I'm going to be doing this 2 Scoop show. Corey's begging him and things like that. He came on the show and got to talk and cuss and act like Mark, but he didn't do anything for the show. Really? So why can't we? We had proof that 2 Scoops it went international, but we had a lot of local people that were helping us grow 2 Scoops. Judge Love Jr., you know, all the names like local people were doing big things for 2 Scoops. So how Corey turned left on me and wanted these YouTube stars on our show, it didn't do anything for us, man.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm friends with Mark. I love Mark. Mark.
Me too.
And he would have repped out the show too. I guess it could also be in the way that it was presented to him, and only Corey would know that. But if it was presented to him as a next level thing, possibly Mark does shout out Next Level a lot, but Next Level is not 2 Scoops. You know what I mean? So it
Right.
really depends on how it was presented to Mark. But the thing is also, you know, for Strength Addicts, you know, for my thing, it was always about local competitors, regional competitors. If I had to pick between, you know, a top pro and a local competitor, I always pick the local competitor because they don't get a lot of press. Maybe I'm their first interview, and they just, you know, the passion, it's a different thing. The only thing
Right.
I can't wrap my head around, though, Ty, is as being one half of the show, I would think if you wanted a guest, that guest is coming on. But if that guest is not coming on, then that's going to make you feel,
Oh, yeah.
what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it made me feel like Corey, it felt like he started to grow an ego when it came to 2 Scoops. 2 Scoops was his baby. At the time, Corey wasn't really competing, you know, so I understood him, you know, but I'm not a fan of like it felt like an ego. It just, nah, man, it ain't the way I roll.
Yeah, the other thing too is like some folks that will remain nameless wanted to know, like, what was up with 2018? Why was there so much animosity and this and that? But I will say that for 2018, because we were at war, you know, and I don't know if I was like flying what was it called? Blue Note, not Blue Note. What was it called? Blue something. The sub shop.
Shit.
It changed names twice. It became
something blue. Yeah. I forget.
It's Next Level now, so it doesn't matter. But the thing is,
right.
There was an MPC.
Blueprint.
Huh?
Blueprint supplements.
Is that what it was? Yeah. So it was like, so we were on one side, you guys were on the other, and if anybody denies the fact that we were giving you shit, then they don't know. Because, like, for example, when you went to Kentucky Muscle and Brent Jones was like, no press pass, blah blah blah, to you guys, you've been going to Kentucky Muscle since like you were like, I don't know, like what, 15? For him to do that to you was clearly, you know, somebody leaning on him, and we were doing that. And then for you to not be able to get press passes, like I'm just saying for me, I can't take responsibility for anybody else, but just for me. So, I mean, but I feel like that was all a bunch of bullshit, you know what I mean? But the thing is, you guys were not making money. You guys were not getting press passes. You guys were getting jammed up by promoters. You guys were taking a lot of shit. So when you put all of that, and then you just like on one side, and you're like, what am I getting? I don't know even how long you guys were able to go that long, you know? I just don't know. Sassy's in the house. Very cool. Thank you for coming by. But I just don't know how you guys even went that long. But then to not be able to have a guest, do you feel that could Corey, like, did you feel like he could veto you, like, in that regard? Like,
well, I mean, it was one of those things to where I pretty much, there was only one person that I said no, I don't want them on the show. Corey didn't even know the guy. A random-ass dude hit me up at the gym, was like, man, I heard about your show. I want to come on. I'm like, well, what do you do? He's like, I work out. But anyways, so anybody that competed, I welcome to the show. I wanted them on the show because everybody has a story and everybody needs a platform. Everybody needs to be heard, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So, and the beef you talk about with you and all you guys, that was actually good for me. I'm a competitor. You understand what I'm saying? So it was all good. I welcomed it. I loved it. I ate it up. In fact, if not for all that beef, Next Level probably wouldn't be as successful as they were, because y'all just made me hungry. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it brought out the best in me as, as just an employee of Next Level. I was ready to go to war with anybody.
Yeah, let me interrupt just for one second. I just want to say what's up to 212 Mr. Olympia. Sean Clarita's in the house.
In the house!
What's up, my man? How are you? Be sure to check him out tomorrow in New Jersey, meet and greet. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, and I think I told certain people like that the whole strategy was warped, because when you make someone an underdog, you're actually like barking up the wrong tree. You do not want to make, especially with the production value that you guys had, and now that
right.
Blueprint is no longer here. I mean, I would say it anyways because I don't really care, but especially now because you're not here, their podcast sucked. I mean, it literally sounded like they had some kid there who I mean, I'm sure he really like wanted to do a good job. But you're basically putting like a Kia next to a Cadillac. It just was not happening. I think the listeners were there. The listeners were also, the proof was there. They were not tuning into this other thing. Was any of it personal though? Like I don't want to ask about any.
You can ask me anything, man. This is open. This is candid. You can ask me anything, man.
Was there anybody? Was there anybody that like? Well, let's do like a word association. I mean, like obviously, I mean, I don't care what you think about Brent, because I don't, I just don't care about Brent like that. But like, what was the deal with Brent though? Because I listened to all of your episodes, and I know you guys took a couple of digs at me, which is cool. Because believe it or not, I actually like that. Like one guy that hates my guts.
There's a lot of people that do.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Well, because you guys,
no, not me.
I'm bald, I'm fat, I don't compete, and I'm like doing all this stuff. So automatically people. But the thing is, like. But we go through highs and lows. Like right now with Kevin,
right.
I'm cool. I'm not sure. But there's a guy who's got an amazing physique. Him and Chauncey are the best posers, not just here, but like pretty much anywhere around here. You know what I mean? And when you had him on the show, the whole 2 hours, I listened to that episode like 5 times. Like you had him on like I think 2 or 3 times. That was a really good episode. But like, what was the whole thing with Brent though? Because like, I heard that episode. You went to the Kentucky Muscle. You weren't even doing an interview. But I think it was blowback from the Tricky. I think it was like had something to do with like press passes. What was that whole thing about?
I mean, I'd be speculating. I don't know what it was about, to be honest with you. I mean, I can give you my opinion. So, damn. All I know is this: I did. So I competed. I did the the Derby show in like 2017, I think, whatever. And I got thrown into 5th place. Right, like literally thrown into fifth place.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. Are you, okay, go ahead.
I'm going there. Everybody knows. I mean, we talking. You know what I'm saying? I got thrown into 5th place. And the funny thing about it, and Chauncey's on here, he can jump on with us. We knew that I was going to get dogged at that show. Did I think they were going to throw me all the way in 5th place? No. But I knew they weren't going to let me win that show. And I hated it because one of my brothers, man, Judge Love Jr., we wanted to go toe-to-toe. And there's another guy from Tennessee, Courtney English. Like, we wanted to be in the overall, like, let's battle. That was competition back in those days. And, it's 3-4 years ago. But shit changes really fast in this game. So as far as the beef with Brent goes, I don't know where it came from. I could say, I'm hearing stuff. So I never heard anything from Brent. But, dude, it could have just been a simple thing that Two Scoops got so big and so popular that people like Brent didn't like it. They didn't like the success of the show. But little did they know, we didn't get any money. We was broke. You know what I'm saying? So be careful when you judge people. Yeah. I think, people like that just kind of judged us. And, and it's a wrap, man. We was broke as hell.
And the funny thing is, like, I'm here I am saying, anything goes, but then I'm like, don't go there. But like, the thing is, you're right. I mean, it is possible. Someone like Brent, hypothetically, if they had a grudge, they there's a lot they could do. You know what I mean? There's a lot they could do.
Right.
Just leave it at that.
Right.
But like, but it's true. And my big thing with him was I'm very liberal. I was like, I march BLM. I'm big on the environment. I'm big on immigration rights. I'm Hispanic. That's like kind of like a cop out. I don't have to be Hispanic to care about the issue, you know. But you know, he had posted something that I thought was like, you know, like it was like something about transgender people, you know. And I was like, and making a joke, you know. And so I'm not transgender, but like I just think like you're gonna pick on like this community is like how many transgender people do you know? You probably, I don't know if you know anybody. I don't know anybody. It's a super tiny community.
I know a
And
few.
it's like a super tiny community. Well, like
Right.
why poke fun at them? You know what I mean? Like you know,
Right.
you know. So I made a post, and I knew he was gonna see it, but I made a post. I didn't name him. I didn't like say anything about him, but I kind of referred to him. And I was like, man, how lame is that? Like you can't find anyone like, you know, you can't find like any other way to be funny than that. And he got wind of it. And so from that moment on, I was no longer welcome at his shows. Like, and he booted me from his Kentucky Muscle group on Facebook and all this thing. You know, and I tried, you know, and it's one of those things like at that time I was like all about being like, you know, I wanted to keep ties, you know, I wanted to be like diplomatic, you know, I wanted to be like Mr. NPC, whatever. And so I was tending to apologize, but I didn't really want, you know, like when you have principles and you stand for something, you don't want to apologize. Like, you know, that's like, you know, there's gotta be a limit, you know? So I never did. But anyways, like, I just thought that was like a really like shitty thing he did. But I also thought it was a shitty thing that he would like approach you like that in public, no less. He didn't take you aside. And I didn't see it. I wasn't there. I listened to Two Scoops. But it was just a very like unnecessary kind of thing, you know.
I mean, it was, man. It what it did was it basically proved what I had heard. You know what I'm saying? Like I had heard Brent and a few other, I won't name their names, kind of had something against me all of a sudden. And based on what, I don't know, but they even wouldn't let Next Level be sponsors of the show and stuff like that. So once that happened, I knew I was done for as far as Kentucky Muscle goes. But I thought I could walk into a, you know, pay for a ticket and go to a show. And yeah, he just came at me the wrong way big time. You know what I'm saying? I will say this. Later, he did apologize. It was probably 6 months later, though. He did apologize. I've known Brent, man. And in fact, Brent, he was there when I did my first show. He trained at my gym, so he saw me when I was an 18-year-old kid, you know, working out. So we've been cordial forever. So it was weird. It was weird. I don't know how things change like that, but I wasn't surprised, man. You can't. I don't expect anything from anybody. So he didn't let me down by doing it.
Right. But I just think it's funny how life kind of just plays out, because like you said, this conflict in 2018 made Next Level huge. I think Brent's decision, it was warped. He basically went the blueprint side, you know, because that was just the war. It sounds insane that there would be a war between supplement companies or supplement stores, but it was. This city was divided. It was really, really divided, and to the point that here you are as a promoter, like turning down money from a company that wants to invest in your show because you're like, you know, you're all about, and as a result, Next Level and Gene Good, you know, linked up. Gene's show is on the fast track to maybe one day being bigger than Brent shows. You know, Lexington is not much smaller than Louisville, and with Next Level title sponsoring and that relationship that's developed, maybe as a result of them being, you know, kept out from Brent's show, now, you know, the Open is maybe on its way to being bigger, at least than which is the bigger show? Is it the Derby show or the Muscle? I think the Derby. The
Muscle's the big. It's weird, man. The Muscle show is supposed to be bigger. The Derby shows. I mean, this year it was huge. So but, you never know with that.
Yeah, Gene and Tina are just like killing it. I mean, they are killing it, and they're doing the full expo. I mean, it. I don't know. Like people say, like, oh, you know, Lexington show never be bigger than the Louisville show. I don't think that's necessarily ironclad, you know.
Right.
So with regards oh, sorry. And
I was just gonna say, I mean, I understand like the war that goes on because there's a lot of money involved. Like there's a lot of money involved. And now, does it have to be a war? No, but I'm okay with like a battle. But it gets so ugly sometimes, and that's just a shame, for real. Like the pie's huge, everybody can eat, and that was my idea a long time ago, before stuff got so ugly, and I wanted nothing to do with it. I was just done.
So I guess you know, we talked about Brent. You know, I'm good friends with Jimmy. You know, Jimmy's a good guy. He was on your show. Like, you know, good guy, and Jeff Sherman, good guy over there in Northern Kentucky. Tricky Jackson, my gosh, Tricky Jackson's a freaking legend. I mean, Tricky Jackson
Oh,
is
yeah.
a kid. I never
Oh, yeah.
understood why Tricky's show wasn't bigger. I never quite really wrapped my head around that one because I would think that and it's in Lexington.
Right.
I think he lives in Mississippi or Louisiana. I think that might be a
Right.
factor. But I
Right.
mean, you couldn't ask for a nicer guy. And I actually heard this on Two Scoops, and it was real. It was like so real. He actually will shake your hand. Every person that goes to his show, he will shake your hand. I mean, that is like hospitality unlike anything I've ever seen. So,
Tricky's awesome, man. He literally, I mean, like, Tricky blew up. I mean, Tricky was huge. He was winning shows. He was in the Olympia, and he always treated myself, some other guys in the gym, Chauncey Wilson, Kevin Johnson. He treated us just like family from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always gonna support Tricky's show. That's the first physique show I did, and as far as it growing and getting bigger, I don't know if Tricky wants that. I think he likes the fact that the Tricky show has developed into this show for first-time competitors to do, people that don't have a lot of experience, and there needs to be that because those big shows can be intimidating. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Hell,
Absolutely.
the Derby looked like a national show, man, a few weeks ago. It was huge.
I don't do contest coverage anymore, but maybe one day. I won't get into that, but maybe one day. Maybe one day. But I'm so happy doing what I'm doing. I got Blackstone, I got Titan, and I'm doing these interviews.
There you go.
Like, just amazing. It's crazy because I'm still making myself felt. I'm growing my brand. I'm actually going through this battle in the borough, Murfreesboro. I don't even like MMA, but it's like Strength Addicts is my baby. I can't let it die. So I will find places to go to just keep it alive, and it's doing
there
really
you go.
well. But with regards to and then you did the factory thing. And the factory thing, I can't. I just mentioned that real quickly because Jody and I were like rooting so hard for you, and it's an easy sell. It's an easy sell because I think Ray like saw what you were all about, and like just the energy that you brought was just. I don't know like whatever happened with that, but like I know that I think Bond is now running like sort of like the social media and all that. Very interesting again because I never thought I'd see Bond at the factory, much less running everything. Bond's a hell of a great guy. It's just, it's weird. Like, if you would have said that 2 years ago, I'd be like, that's just not going to happen. But like now it is, But I mean, it's, I just thought you brought a lot of life to that. And Jody and I were so happy. Like, you totally did.
I appreciate that too. So, man, my main thing was, Christian, I never wanted to be like tied down to one thing, right? I want to support local gyms, local competitors. So, when the factory approached me with the opportunity, heck yeah, I jumped on it, man. Let's do it. Like, what can I do to help this gym grow, to bring in quality competitors? I'm all about the competitor, man. I'm competitor first, and I'm people first. Like, I got a real job. Like, bodybuilding, all this, I don't get paid doing none of that. I got a real job. So, for me, it's a hobby that I, like, take personal, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious about it. But if bodybuilding was taken away tomorrow, it wouldn't change my lifestyle, if you will. You know what I'm saying? I do it for fun. It's always going to be like that. But I know that some people, this is all they got. You know what I mean? So if you're a gym owner like Ray, that's it. Like the factory is his baby. You know what I'm saying? So if I can support you and you respect me enough to allow me to, man, let's do it.
And I think that's really, I think that's very powerful what you said too, with regards to that's all some people got. Like, for example, I think a lot of people thought, well, if Christian can't cover shows, Strength Addicts is dead. And that's not all I got. You know what I mean? I'm not going to roll over and die. You know what I mean? I'm just going to like get bigger if I can. That's the ultimate revenge, is to get bigger and better. You know what I mean? And eventually you can work together again. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to just die, And so I think my last question for this one, I'd love to do this again. I'd love to do it on your page. If I don't know, it's like one of those things. If I'm on your page, it'd be like one of those like there goes the neighborhood, But like I would love.
You can come on my page anytime, man.
I would love to do this, but like I guess my question for you is, because people really do care about this type. People really do care about this. People really do talk about this. People want to see Two Scoops again. I mean, they want to. Where is your? This is really personal. You don't have to answer, obviously, but where is your relationship with Corey right now? And do you ever conceive of a Two Scoops reunion?
Man, I would definitely do Two Scoops again, but I would do it differently. I would be more vocal in, what I'm cool with and what I'm not cool with. and I would keep it where I wanted it to be. If it ain't about the local competitor, and all we care about is outside of the city here, I want nothing to do with it. So if you do talk to Corey, let him know I'm down with it. I didn't want Two Scoops to become a job. Two Scoops was an idea that was fun to do. There was no problems. I don't want it to become a job. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's something I just want to do for fun, man. So I'd definitely be down to do with it. And as far as our relationship, I haven't talked to Corey since the last episode that I was on with Two Scoops. Because at the time, again, he was still so tied to Next Level. I wanted nothing to do with Next Level. I wanted nothing to do with Two Scoops. I wanted to do my own thing, man. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to know when to cut ties. And it was time to cut ties, man. Like, I did, and I enjoyed bodybuilding, but way before Two Scoops, way before Next Level and all this drama and dealing with Blueprint and you and Brent Jones. Like, I've been lifting weights way before all of y'all came into my life. You know what I mean? So I'll be damned if I let y'all ruin that for me. You know what I'm saying? So I got back to the basics, man, and what I love. What I love is going to the gyms, talking to my boys about training, and just being a beast, man, making gains. That's what I do. I make gains, Christian.
Is leaving the station. Yeah.
I make gains, baby. So yeah, if you're gonna try to steal my gains, be it talking smack or having me whatever, I don't want nothing to do with it.
For sure. And I would love to see a reunion.
And let me tell you this really quick. I wish you had asked the same question about Next Level, Sean and Amy. All right. The relationship there, because I was there for 3 years, helped build the company, and hell, was the face of Next Level. Let's call it that, right? I didn't talk to them for 2 years or so. And I was driving one day, man, all this drama's going on. It's 2020. And I'd run into their daughter a few times, and her and I were always nice when we'd see each other, out and about or whatever else. And one day, man, I just decided, let's call Sean and Amy, because Sean and Amy did do a lot for me when I was an employee there. And then when things went sour, like I'll bounce, I'll cut ties quick. That's just always how I've been. Like, if I ever feel like you did me wrong, the people that are close to me, Christian, I hold them to a higher standard, right? So you don't get the chances to screw me over more than once if you're that close to me. And Sean and Amy were. So when things got ugly, I cut the tie and didn't talk to him for 2 years. And just one day, man, I decided, you know what? Let's give him a call. And I called him up. I talked to him. We're on the phone crying and shit because I got love for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we both made a decision to walk away, to step away from it, because it was almost like it was so heartbreaking that we couldn't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't do it at the time. I couldn't. I know they couldn't because they told me. You know what I mean? So, but I'm glad we did get to smooth that over. Like, I still love them. I wish them the best. You know what I'm saying? And they said the same thing to me. So that's a good thing.
That's awesome. And I don't think many people know that at all. I think that's
right.
Really cool.
Nobody knows that. I've never told anybody.
Yeah. So I appreciate that, and I think that's awesome. I think that's really, really cool. So it sounds like you're good with Brent. More importantly, with John and Amy.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully, I would love for you and Corey to talk. And the only other thing is that last episode, I think it probably rolled off of you. That last episode was 10 minutes long. It was super awkward. I think he was totally he didn't know what to do. Like, he just, he didn't know what to do. And after that last episode, it went dark. Two Scoops went dark. And like I said,
here's my question to you: do you want to see Two Scoops again?
I would love it. Even when you guys were taking digs, which you didn't take a lot of digs, but you did take a few. No. But I loved it. And I think it's
right.
Look, it was the best podcast that Louisville's ever seen. It was
probably
one of the best podcasts in the region, and it certainly was amongst the best in the country. But it has to be you. It has to be him. It cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot. You cannot, like Shredder said, you cannot replace either one. You said you can't replace you, but
that's all love. That's all love.
Yeah, I would one up that and say that you couldn't replace him. It's just there's something about the two guys together, and I don't even think Corey likes me that much. We met, and it was good, and it was a nice meeting, but I don't think Corey likes me that much. It's not about that. It is a honest compliment with nothing expected in return. I think you guys were really, really good. And when you were on, you were on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's something that you guys should revisit. And I think it's going to take one of you calling each other. But once you guys get back on the air, but make money with it. You know, do it right.
That's the thing. Yeah.
And if you want to go to a show, have the promoter give you a room like they used to give me, and maybe even pay you for being there. But none of this free stuff, paying for your own parking, because he was talking about it too, because he was having to go through it too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Bring a lot of value to the show. A lot.
Yeah, I mean, Corey invested thousands of dollars into Two Scoops. I'm like, I'm not doing that because where's the return? Like, I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, totally. So I totally understand. But you guys had the listeners, you had the loyalty, and so I just love for you guys to come back. I think it's much, much needed. So I want to thank you very, very much.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me on, bro.
Yeah, totally. So for your number one friend, Ty Robinson, Christian Duke, StrengthAddicts.com. Thank you so much, Ty.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Christian, baby. Hey, tag me, man. I'm going to repost this. Your number one friend. We're out.
Awesome.